This is The Competitive Edge with Peter Shankman. Welcome to The Competitive Edge. My name is Scott Britton, and I'm here to help you answer a question that we all have. How can I get an edge in my business and life? Each week, we're going to uncover how some of the most successful and inspiring entrepreneurs, entertainers, and thought leaders get an edge, so you too can reach your full potential. Do you want more unique ideas and tactics like the ones we're about to share in this episode? Then you're going to want to do two things. The first is to subscribe to The Competitive Edge on iTunes so that you don't miss out on new ideas from future conversations. After this, you're going to want to go check out my main site, lifelonglearner.com. When you enter in your email address to join the Lifelong Learner community, you'll get access to my most advanced strategies to stack the deck in your favor. Again, that's life-longlearner.com. Hello, and thanks for tuning in to today's episode. One of the first duties at the first ever tech startup I ever was involved with was trying to figure out ways to get press for the company. At the time, I heard about this really cool service called Help a Reporter Out, where journalists would share topics they were looking to get sources for, and on the other side, people could volunteer their expertise on that topic if there was a fit. I remember thinking that it was a fantastic idea and service, and that whoever invented this was a total genius. Today's guest is that genius, Peter Shankman. Peter has done a ton of different things, including founding Help a Reporter Out. But more recently, he's really built a name for himself, just establishing himself as a preeminent expert in customer service, marketing, culture, and social media. He's got some phenomenal books, and today we're going to dive into some major themes from his newest book, Zombie Loyalists, using great service to create rabid fans. As consumers, it seems like there's more and more noise out there. I feel like I'm constantly getting bombarded with different companies trying to get my attention. And in this environment, what it really comes down to is I end up going with the companies that my friends recommend. And this is just a huge reason why more than ever, companies, entrepreneurs, businesses, they need to focus on creating that rich experience and being the type of company that people become fans of. Even if being nice just isn't part of their agenda, because as you'll realize, this is actually a very profitable investment of these companies' time and resources. So we're going to touch upon this and a ton of different things, including company culture, the concept of good karma emails, and even some marketing strategies for you growth people out there. I walked away from this conversation with a few new ideas, and hopefully after the next 30 minutes, you will as well. Let's go ahead and hear from Peter Shankman. Peter, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Good to be here.
Great to have you on the show. And it looks like you have a lovely picture of a cat here on your Skype.
Got to have a cat. You know, cats are useful. They remind you of exactly your place in the world and how minimal it actually is.
I like that perspective, man. And I mean, in terms of introducing you here, Peter, you've done so much and continue to do so much. So I'm going to hand over the reins. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you're up to these days and maybe some of the things that you've done in the past?
Yeah, I'm doing some interesting stuff. I have a new book coming out in January called Zombie Loyalists, which is all about using incredible service to create sort of rabid fans. A lot of fun, totally unexpected, but it sort of came from my last book, Nice Companies Finish First, where I realized it was just a very, very small percentage of companies that actually care enough to do really good customer service and really take care of their audience. And so the more I started researching that, the more I realized there had to be companies out there that did take care of their audience. And so the majority of this is us talking about how great companies do their customer service to get the rest of the world to talk about them with real examples and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. It's coming out in late January. It's called Zombie Loyalists. The fact that I got my publisher to allow me to use the term zombies in the title, I think is a real win. So I'm excited about that.
Well, I'm excited to read it. And, you know, It's kind of interesting to think about because a lot of people think of enhanced customer service and really the attention to detail. I imagine like, well, that's going to be cost prohibitive, but it seems like from what you're alluding to in your book, it actually works out in companies' favor from a bottom line perspective.
Well, it works out tremendously. I mean, you've seen companies increase their revenue upwards of 20, 30% simply, by being just a little bit better. We're not, I don't sit there asking the world to be, saying, okay, you have to do everything better than everyone else. It's the most basic little tiny things, that people don't bother doing. So it's pretty incredible. Crazy.
Is there a particular example of a company that you just think has done this incredibly well?
I mean, if you look at Morton's Steakhouse, for instance, every time you call Morton's, make a reservation, they ask you if you're celebrating anything. And you say, well, yeah, it's my wife's birthday. They go, okay, what's her name? You go, Kira. Okay, great. We'll see you in Kira at 8 o'clock on Friday. You show up, and then right in the very beginning of the meal, you sit down. They bring you your menus, and the menus say on them, "Happy Birthday, Kira." And my wife goes crazy, and she spends the next 45 minutes Instagramming that, sharing it with the world. And I can't get a drink. So it's that sort of tremendous little tiny things that you do that really sort of help build your brand. And again, it does not take a lot.
Yeah, and just a simple example I remember from one of your books that I just got done reading around different types of things that you can do to get media coverage. And I think the book was called "Can We Do That?" about different PR stunts. Was even just being incredibly responsive. I remember you guys had a phone line that you would just respond before anybody else in the first 10 or 15 minutes to really stand out.
Yep. That was my first book. Can We Do That? It was all about PR stunts, and yeah, we were different in the respect that we did answer, we did call back right away, and 9 out of 10 times the person that gets the business is the first one to call back. And it's not that difficult. It really isn't. But for whatever reason, companies just don't bother to do it, and you find how incredibly easy it is to be better simply by doing little things like calling someone back or being on time for a meeting. Stupid things.
I think like one thing that I'm interested in learning from you about is like, is there any unifying factors that you've seen amongst these companies in terms of like the processes that they put in place or is it a culture thing that really shines through? Like, how do these companies actually, I think we all want to provide good levels of customer service, create rabid fans, but actually like putting that in practice and acting it out day to day is something totally different.
Well, one of the big problems is, you have a company that doesn't necessarily care that much. And by company, I mean the culture itself. The CEO doesn't necessarily care. The top management doesn't care. And so what they do is they force rules and restrictions on their employees who actually could care but don't bother. So like the phone service, the customer service guy on the phone who actually knows that you're quitting and leaving, leaving their cable company for another one, and knows that you've already had the new one installed and that there's nothing you can do to get it back. And yet they're still required to spend 8 minutes giving you a script and their best deal and this and that, customer retention. And it's ridiculous because you're sitting there and you're like, I know that this guy's smart enough to know that he doesn't have to do this, but because it's a requirement, he does. And it's ridiculous. Give your employees the ability to make their own decisions based on intelligence. And you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed how better they'll do, how happier the customers will be, and how your revenue will actually increase.
So do you think like that for this kind of zombie-like loyalty, it really starts in the internal culture?
It has to. It's a culture experience 100% of the way. If I don't have the ability to make my own decisions that benefit my customer and I'm forced to follow a script, nothing good will ever come out of it.
What companies have you, because it sounds like you talk to a ton of different companies in the space. Has there been a company that maybe anecdotally decided to take this more hands-off approach, given empowering their employees, that really saw a dramatic change for the positive?
Well, I mean, Ritz-Carlton's been doing it since the very beginning. What Ritz-Carlton does is they actually hire employees not for their skills, but for their people skills, with the logic that you can train anyone to fold a bed sheet. but you can't necessarily train someone to be empathetic, to have empathy. And so that's, an amazing way. If they're doing it that way, it's very, very smart, because you become one of these companies that people say, wow, they really treated me well. And people go back again and again and again. We've seen, did some work there's a company in Seattle that every time someone lands and types the word landed and SEA into Twitter, they have a search on it, and they go through customer relationship management software, and they say, okay, this person's never been with us, whatever. And so they say, cool, welcome to Seattle. If you're hungry tonight, stop by our restaurant. We'll give you first drinks free. And they've seen a massive increase in business, simply because they've done something that no one else bothers to do. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, let me ask you this: in terms of I'm thinking about how companies can obviously it starts with providing an excellent customer service and just attention to detail and all that. Are there ways that companies have been really smart about activating those instances so people do share and remarket and all that good stuff? Or is it largely just really all about just providing the experience?
Oh yeah, I mean it's about providing the experience and then letting the customer talk about it, because we're moving towards a place where the concept of review sites and things like that are not going to matter. And so, why should I trust them? What I will trust is the people in my network. So if I'm focused on creating amazing experience, that gives my audience the desire to share it. Everyone wants to feel special, and when people are special, they want to share that. Hey, look at how awesome I was treated. I must be cool, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you can do that and give them that ability, it makes people very, very pleased to be a part of you.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a big fitness guy, and I think about some of the companies that have done really well, and I think about Tough Mudder or even CrossFit, where people are just sharing their workouts every day. A lot of their product is just inherently, it makes people feel good, and they want to share these things that they're doing, and it's really promoting the company or the brand or the workout regimen, whatever it is itself.
No question about it. And that's the beauty of it, is that it really is incredibly simple. When we get something we love, we want to share it with the world. It's not rocket science, and it never is. All it is simply saying, hey, here's what we're building. Here's how it will make you happy. And if people do that, then they want to share it. That's it. End of story.
Yeah, I think a cool. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the web dive experience that you put on in 2000. Because when I read about something that I would want to talk about because I'm involved in, that really just personifies it.
Yeah, that's a really simple example, but it's a perfect example. The concept of I go to. I decide I want to go skydiving. I decide I want to take a bunch of people skydiving. So I create an event. Instead of just taking someone skydiving, I turn it into an event, and I turn it into a must-attend event. Oh, what do you mean you're not going? And we get 150 people skydiving. They had a blast. They all lived, and because it wasn't just me saying how great skydiving is, it was everyone saying, "Hey, this is incredible." It was 150 people sharing their own experiences. And that was in 2000. Do that today, and every single person will have a GoPro on their forehead. So it really, give people amazing things, and they will, and they will want to share them. And now it's just so easy to do.
Yeah, it's funny. I went to an event this morning, actually a group meditation, and it was called The Path. Have you heard of it?
I haven't, no.
It's here in New York. It's pretty cool that they do weekly guided group meditations. And today they had one in the Lululemon store in Union Square. And I've had a meditation practice for a little over a year now. It's something I do by myself in the confines of my house every morning. And here's a group of people who took this simple concept of doing a guided meditation and are now gathering 60, 70, 80 people, getting them to pay $20 each to have one person do a meditation. And they really just, they did exactly what you said, which is take this thing that they were already doing, somebody was already doing, and turn it into an event. And the press has been fantastic. I think they're making a business out of it. It's really not that hard, like you said.
No, it's really not. It's so funny because you see all these companies who try so damn hard to do this and that and special this and that. At the end of the day, it's just being one level above crap. We expect to be treated like crap. One level above crap changes the world.
Do you think that in today's just marketplace that it's important for companies to intentionally strive to be different and differentiate themselves?
Well, they should strive to be a little better. They don't necessarily have to do anything to be different, other than just being a little better. Being a little better changes them, and that's the key. You have so many people who don't bother trying to be different, and or rather, they spend too much time trying to be different, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to tell everyone how great you are, or doing this or doing that, just try being a little bit better. Try smiles. Try reaching out to someone, asking a real question. Being a human being. It's amazing.
When a company comes to you and says, Peter, how do we become better? How do we differentiate ourselves in a positive way from our competitors? What types of things do you usually look at to begin with?
I've had big companies ask me these things, and so what I'll do is, before I even respond to them, I'll try calling their customer service line, and I'll see how long it takes to get through. And I'll see if they can actually help me with some fictitious problem I'm making up. And the basics of that are pretty incredible, because you have all these people who are like, we do a great, 88%. There've been studies that said 88% of all CEOs believe that they're doing an amazing job customer service wise, but only 8% of their employees believe, or customers believe the same thing. That's such a massive discrepancy.
Yeah. Wow.
Massive. So right there, that tells you something.
Yeah, I wonder how many CEOs of companies that, like, especially these big ones, actually go through the process themselves as a consumer.
It's funny. It's the concept of eating your own dog food was made popular in the late '90s, but it's true. Zappos will give any employee $3,000 to quit within the first 3 weeks or 3 months of their job, which is a brilliant idea. You want people who are devoted to the cause of making the customer experience better.
Oh wait, I'm curious. So that sounds ridiculous. So if I started Zappos and I decide that I don't like my job, in the first 3 months I can get $3,000?
Yeah, they'll give you money because they only want people who are truly dedicated and passionate about what they're doing. And if you're not one of them, they will pay you to leave.
Peter, I know you've had a couple companies and Help a Reporter Out and Geek Factory. What types of things have you done with your companies to really like activate that culture experience?
I think for me, it's really about understanding that employees are people and that they have real lives, and you want to help them achieve their goals. For some employees, it was as simple as just being there to listen when they had questions. For others, it was, hey, let me co-sign your car loan, or whatever the case may be. You have to believe in your employees, and you have to be willing to find out what they want that makes their lives better, because chances are it's not as simple as money.
Yeah.
It's something much deeper than that, and it's your job to find out what that is.
That's the truth, man. I mean, I think about the last company I was with. I wasn't like super passionate about our product or, a lot of parts of the business, but I loved my boss. And I loved that he cared so much about my personal and professional development. And because of that, that's really why I wanted to succeed.
Yep. And at the end of the day, that's really what it is. If you have if you feel like you have someone in your life, a boss or mentor, something like that, who will actually be there and benefiting you and wants to help you, you're going to be as loyal as anything to that person.
What were some of the other big takeaways from the book before this, Nice Companies Finish First?
I think one of the biggest takeaways from Nice Companies was the concept that being generous to your employees, to the environment, to your business as a whole, to your customers. CEOs don't necessarily like to be nice because they believe falsely that nice equates with weakness. And they also don't see where being nice translates into dollars. But we were able to show in the book that being nice actually generates a lot of extra revenue, a lot more revenue. And as soon as people realize that, they want to be nice. And, look, at the end of the day, whatever gets companies to be nice, so be it. I don't necessarily need it to be, if you want to be nice because it makes you money, great, that's fine. At least you're being nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of companies that probably think they're being nice that just don't know what nice really means.
Exactly, they really don't. And it's being aware. It's being aware of, again, what your audience wants, the best way to give it to them, and being being able to do things that make the customer feel like more of a human being and less like a number.
Speaking of being nice, one thing that I thought was really interesting was the concept of good karma emails that you
Mm-hmm.
send out. And I think this is a brilliant practice for anybody that can probably be applied within any industry, regardless of whether you're trying to get PR or any other type of thing like that. Could you maybe explain a little bit to everybody listening what that is?
Yeah, yeah. My good karma emails are very simple. I reach out to people and I say, "Hey, what are you working on? How can I help?" I send out an email. I have about 15,000 LinkedIn contacts. I send it out once a month to about 1,500 random ones. I say, "Hey, what are you working on? How can I help?" Not trying to sell you anything, not doing anything, just asking what I can do. How can I help? And as soon as you get, when people realize, wow, you're being nice, you're not trying to sell me anything, you're just trying to be a decent guy. As soon as they realize that, they're like, wow, okay. And, the trust factor comes up, the trust level comes up, and people, realize that you're actually just being a decent person. Everyone wins.
What are some cool things that have come out of that simple 2 sentence email that you maybe didn't expect?
Oh my God, new clients, new consulting gigs, speaking gigs, you name it. I mean, tons and tons of stuff. And again, it's you know the nice thing, even if it's just a cup of coffee, with someone that you didn't expect, that's a bonus as well.
Yeah, I think in the context of when you were at Geek Factor, I really liked it as well. How you said basically just making yourself available to be a resource. When you have like the assets of a big network or a ton of different contacts, I forget the exact wording, but it was something like, "Hey, I know all these people in this industry. I have all these contacts. I'm happy to give you a quote whenever you need it. Just I'm not trying to pitch you. I'm just letting you know that I'm here if you need me."
Yep, yep. And that's the key. At the end of the day, that's really what you want to do. You want to be nice, you want to help people, and you'll be amazed as what they can do to you.
Do you, for people that maybe that are listening to this and haven't done that and say, well, yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to these, because I feel like what's going through a lot of people's heads, like that's a good idea, but I haven't talked to a lot of people in years and it's just going to seem weird. What would you say to those people?
There's nothing wrong with reaching out and just saying hi. And be honest. I mean, my emails my good karma emails start off with things like, hey, we're terrible at using LinkedIn. We all are. So I'm trying to make that better. And owning your shit, owning your mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I think too, like, I don't even know if you realize you did this, but writing those emails in a very human way. That's not, because like, I feel like when I get LinkedIn emails and stuff from people, it's like, "Hey, I'm updating my address book and I thought I'd reach out." And it's just like so impersonal that I
Yep.
don't feel like as a real human. And because of that, like, I don't want to respond to this person. So I think like, calibrating using that conversational tone that you just did there, that um, it is what is how you need to approach this type of thing.
No question about it. And that's what does it. Be a human being. At the end of the day, just be human.
So what else can we expect from Zombie Loyalty, man? Because I'm very excited about this book. I mean, we talked about different touch points and how that's activating the customer. What other things can people be expecting who are reading it?
Yeah, one of my favorite. I mean, the Zombie Loyalists, you will learn, and if you will learn what to do, to sort of, like I said, transform your customers into zombies, and that's a good thing. The website is zombieloyalists with an s.com. I have a bunch of gifts up there now. Buy one book, get this. Buy 10 books, get this. Buy 25 books, buy you dinner. Buy 1,000 books, you can rename my daughter. So I'm doing a lot of fun stuff there. But the book is exciting. It has just a bunch of just solid, hands down ways to grow your business by simply being nice. And we just got a review. I'm looking for it right now. Review just came out last week. Actually, it said something like, "This entertaining yet valuable work is a must-read for any business owner or executive interested in turning satisfied customers into avid brand ambassadors." So, I'm excited about it. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing read. And talk about a fun book to write. Telling
Yeah,
people to be nice in business. That doesn't sound too bad.
it doesn't, and it's a nice way to get people to say, "Wow, maybe I don't have to be the asshole."
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It's almost like giving people permission.
Yep.
Last question. Is there one company out there that maybe we should, as people that are interested in this, go through the actual customer experience to see what being nice is all about?
It's funny. I think that if you are everyone has different ideas of what nice is, but I'm a big fan of TD Bank. TD Bank acts much less like a bank and much more like a friend. And if you can make your business more like a friend, people are more than likely to use you. I've been with them now for probably 12 years, and I left them from Chase because I brought my dog in one day. The time I had a dog, and I brought my dog into Chase while I deposited a check, and they made me leave. Sorry, you can't bring your dog in. The dog was like a Labrador Poodle mix. It was a freaking Muppet. And they're like, oh, it's terrible. And I'm sitting there going, this is ridiculous. I walked across the street to this brand new TD Bank that just opened. Not only they let me bring the dog in, they had dog biscuits for him. I'm like, done. That's it.
Sayonara Chase.
Yep, exactly.
Peter, man, so much good stuff in this conversation. Thank you so much. I'm excited to go out there and be a nicer person after this. And where's the best place for people to, if they're interested in learning more about this upcoming book, reading more of your other stuff that you've written, where's the best place for them to go?
They can go to shankman.com, which has my entire life, and then the book will be at zombieloyalists with an S.com.
Awesome. Definitely check that out if you're listening. And Peter, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate all your knowledge today.
It's my pleasure. Good times.
Before we finish up with today's Mindshare, I just want to say thanks for listening to another episode of The Competitive Edge. If you enjoyed the ideas in this episode and want access to future conversations, the best thing you can do is subscribe to The Competitive Edge on iTunes. If you haven't done that already, right now is the best time to take care of that and get on board. And while you're there, if you feel like this show has made a positive impact on your day, it'd be great if you could leave us an iTunes review so that more people can find the show. Now, I know we covered a lot in this episode, and there might be a few key ideas or tools that you want to remember. So we went ahead and compiled all of the notes and links mentioned from this conversation for you on lifelonglearner.com. That's life-longlearner.com. Alrighty, let's go ahead and dive into today's Mindshare. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Peter Shankman. The guy is truly a genius when it comes to media and now just making companies even smarter in terms of ways that they approach interacting with not only their customers, but also their employees. And one of the things that I actually thought I'd share was something that we didn't get to talk about today that it seems that Peter also likes to take advantage of and something that I've been doing in my life. And that's basically, in those moments of where we're feeling like we have a block or we need some creativity or we just feel stuck, how do we pull ourselves out of those moments? Well, one thing that Peter alludes to in one of his books that I really like is just changing your physiology. And this could be done in doing push-ups or going and taking a jog or going to the gym. But I think it's okay for people to give themselves permission if they're not feeling their best to take 10 to 15 minutes and go and move your body a little bit. Move your body so that you can focus on getting that blood pumping, feeling those endorphins, and not on the fact that you're not getting stuff done at the rate that you'd like. At the last company I was with a couple of years ago when I wasn't self-employed, every hour on the hour, we would just do push-ups. And it was just a great way to get our heart rate up, to feel good throughout the day and consistently have energy and really just kind of break up these periods of sitting at a computer or standing or whatever it is that you do for an hour. So I thought this would just be a little tip that I'd share today, something that I've really enjoyed and has enhanced my workplace productivity. And, if you're not feeling your best right now, drop down, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, jumping jacks, you name it, just get that body moving so that you can be at your best. Thanks again for listening today. And if you enjoyed the show, as always, would love if you tell some friends about it, give us a review on iTunes. Thanks again.